He's caught. He's under arrest. Big day, big manhunt. Obviously, a lot of information flowing today. A lot of things online. Some things are being scrubbed and taken down as we speak. But they have identified a person of interest, they're calling him, out in Pennsylvania, in custody on charges related to the weapon he was caught carrying. Now, the next question is, how long does it take to get him back to New York to face the real charges in all of this? But this is a huge, huge day. There are still a lot of questions, but we have a little bit of a sketch of who this guy is, what his background is. Extremely young, only 26 years old, seemingly very smart, but got caught up in something, and now the rest of his life, from my perspective, has been put in front of him, what it's going to be. I mean, you're 26 now, so for the next, I don't know, 60 years or so, maybe 50, if you're lucky, you're going to be locked up. I'm Vinny Politan. We've got the latest in the CEO attack. This is Vinny Live.
Get ready, get set, let's go. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. Get ready. So post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set. To like and to subscribe, let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.
An amazingly busy day in the world of true crime, but this tops the list right now. This was a manhunt. I'm calling it a young manhunt at this point. 26 years old, has his whole life in front of him. Seemingly having a privileged upbringing, great education, smart kid, and he's gone. He's gone. This is the end for him. The evidence is going to be overwhelming here. The evidence is going to be overwhelming as they gather it. But he has been identified. So who is this guy? Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione. Not a great day for us Italian Americans, but it is what it is. The suspect is who he is. You look at and you do the side-by-side comparison, and I'll make that real big for you. That that looks extremely similar right there. That's the same guy. That's the same guy. I'm convinced. So we don't have to have that discussion about whether or not it's the same person. Law enforcement saying all the images that they were showing were all of the same person. This person is that person, and those people are this people. So they got the guy. They got the guy. Luigi Mangione from Maryland. Which, there's a lot of focus on the state of Georgia and in the Atlanta area because of the bus and law enforcement down here, because this is where I live. And, local media talking to local law enforcement, they were investigating this case. Now, the question is, going to New York, it was a bus that originated in Atlanta. Did it stop in Maryland? But at the time, they're saying in the press conference that he's actually from Hawaii, that he was living in Hawaii. So he graduates from the University of Pennsylvania, right? So he grows up in Maryland, goes to private school in Maryland, goes to the University of Pennsylvania, then moves out to California and is working for TrueCar. As it's TrueCar is like I guess a middleman in the car purchasing business that I guess you work online, but he was in technology. He's a computer technology guy. So he's working out. So my guess is he may have been working remotely, because I think the company was from Southern California. He may have been living in San Francisco at some point, some connections there, and then down in Hawaii as well. So it seems like he was bouncing around a little bit, but not so much on the East Coast, on the West Coast. But remember, the first big clue in who's this guy, where is he from, was that he had loaded or gotten onto a bus from Atlanta. Now, he could have traveled from Hawaii back to the upper 48 and gone back to his hometown somewhere in Maryland, and maybe the bus from Atlanta stops in Maryland? Maybe not. Maybe, who knows? They're going to try to track all that down. But let's talk about what happened here. So apparently he's at a McDonald's near Altoona, Pennsylvania, and someone who worked there, actually an employee, he was acting kind of strange and made the call. And they approached him, they talked to him, they identified him, they found what they believed to be a ghost gun. And what we learned in the press conference, it was a 3D printer ghost gun that he had. And they believe it could handle 9mm ammo and the silencer part of it as well. So they got to put those pieces together. Those pieces are huge pieces in all of this, because he's been identified. But let's go back. Let's go back a little bit like that. Let's go back to that morning. The thing that still has me is the image of him with the phone up next to his ear. Was he coordinating with anyone? Now we know he's bright, right? So he's bright enough that if he's focused enough, he likely could do all of this by himself. Okay. And let's not forget, there's a 3-page, what's been described as a manifesto that is with him at the time. So he's clearly bright enough to be doing this all by himself, figuring out who the CEO is, where he is, what his movements are, etc. He could figure it out. Okay. I'm just wondering, because he had the phone up to his ear, is he talking to someone? If so, who's he talking to just before all this happens? How does he get there just in time? How does he know to be there an hour and 20 minutes ahead of time? How did he know where he was staying? There's a lot of those questions, which leads to, did he have help? Is there anyone else involved? And again, in the press conference, NYPD saying they believe that he's acting alone, but the investigation is continuing. So, and then again, bright enough to do it all on his own, clearly. You look into his history. I know you have a lot of questions and a lot of comments that I want to get to, and I want to spend some time on those today. More so than usual, because a lot of folks, I know you are in it and digging things up as well. So where do I want to go here? Let me just go here, because I've got a few things I want to put up on the screen. I'll make this big. So this is, it begins with the comparison, and I don't think there's any question at this point, right? That this is the same person. This is the same person. I mean, the eyebrows, the big eyebrows, everyone was talking about his ethnicity. Well, now we know he's Italian. He's Southern Italian, Mangione. I mean, you're coming from Southern Italy, your ancestry. You're going to have, skin that's a little bit darker features, the dark eyes, dark hair, all of that. And then the smile here is just what, to me, gives it up that I have no doubt that they're the same person. No doubt. Let's move on to a couple of little things I tracked down here. Okay. So he was a valedictorian of the Gilman's graduating class based on the speech he delivered at graduation around a similar theme, maintaining tradition while also pioneering innovations, right? So he excelled. I mean, absolutely excelled at a private school. Gilman High School, I'm not familiar with it. My guess is it's a very prestigious private school in Maryland. Has a great life growing up. What could be going wrong in your life, right? He's 26 years old, working as a tech guy in it's sort of a tech company, that works in the car industry. And my guess is he's probably working remotely, living in Hawaii, age 26. What could be going wrong in your life? How do you get to this? How do you get to this point? Right. But there's one big giveaway. Okay. And I want to get to that right now, because I think it's pretty significant. Let me see where I have it here. Now it's going to be a little blurry. Like, I'm just rushing to get all this stuff up today, because I'm also preparing for my show tonight. Okay. So he liked a, let me see if I do this. Yeah, there we go. No, that's not what I want. Where am I? Okay, now I'm just covering myself. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. You may not like his methods, but to see things from his perspective, it's not terrorism, it's war and revolution. Fossil fuel companies actively suppress anything that stands in their way within a generation or two. It will begin costing human lives by greater and greater magnitudes until the earth is just a flaming ball orbiting third from the sun. Peaceful protest is outright ignored. Economic protest isn't possible in the current system. So, how long until we recognize that violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self-defense? These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. So why should we have any qualms about burning them down to survive? Now that he didn't write that. He liked that. That was from the Unabomber. He was liking something from Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. You know, a lone wolf activist raging against corporate America. In his case, it seemed like it was the energy companies. In the case of this person of interest, suspect, it seems to be healthcare industry. Now, what motivated that, right? What turned him into this activist? I think some of the media companies have been looking into his past to see if anyone had passed away and had some grandparents that passed away. I think there was someone reporting that he had worked in like a hospice type care place. So there is that aspect to it. It could be something that he saw that happened in his life that spurred this sort of rage. Now, a couple of pieces you got to put together here. Remember, he dumped the backpack. He kept the weapon. So was he planning on continuing this conduct forward? Were there other potential targets out there? Was he connected to anyone else? Those are the unanswered questions right now. Those are the unanswered questions. The simple case against him is a simple case based on evidence. It's based upon surveillance video. It's going to be based upon DNA. It's going to be based upon eyewitnesses. It's going to be about tracking his whereabouts, where he is, and all those clues. And from everything that we've seen and heard that's been released, right? And not everything has been released. It's not good for him. Like the case against him seems very open and shut, right? As much as it could be. Because, and I say that, and I don't say that a lot, but I say that because of all the resources going towards this case and the way it's being investigated. This isn't happening in some small town and something's going to be overlooked. They're doing everything and gathering everything to create a mountain of evidence for this very high profile case in the city with the largest police force, right? So it's going to be a solid case, an absolutely solid case, which gets us to the motivating factors. Where do we see this case evolving for the defense? Yeah, they can make it into a whodunit. You know, somebody else did it. You can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Or they may get into mentally what's going on with him. Did he have some sort of a break? And would that lower the level of culpability in the case? Or from their perspective, right? A jury would have to decide. But is that the only chance that they have for any defense here? Or is the whole play to see if you can get it to the point where somewhere down the road, because he's 26, he'll have an opportunity for parole in 40 years, right? That might be the game too. That might be the game too. But the unanswered questions are getting deeper into The motivation, number one, was there something specifically that happened in his life? Because that will play at trial, that will play at sentencing, that motivated this. And does he have information that could connect to anyone else or any other organization? It doesn't seem like that's likely based upon what detectives are saying right now. For me, the only thing that makes me even think about that now was the phone call. But everything else, it seems he could do by himself. He could figure out by himself if he's that focused and that motivated. He's extremely intelligent, much like Ted Kaczynski was extremely intelligent, someone whose writings he liked on, what was it, Readables, I think is where it was. So, everything that let me get back to what I had here. Let me see. So we had this valedictorian. So that was telling. Then you go through some of his stuff here. He's got an MSc and a BSc in computer science at Penn. Okay. And then it says Honolulu, Hawaii. Like that's where he is. 7 years ago, I gave my high school senior speech on this topic. Today, I'll be talking to you about the future, about topics ranging from conscious artificial intelligence to human immortality. What's interesting? He's already being scrubbed from the University of Pennsylvania. There was a link to some work he did at the University of Pennsylvania in the gaming. He did some sort of, I don't know, research in gaming or some gaming project, and his name was all over it. There was an interview with him and everything. It was there as soon as his name was released. And then, an hour later, the University of Pennsylvania scrubs it. Incredibly cowardice to just scrub that stuff. But that's what they do. They're trying to erase the history. They don't want to be associated with him, but they are, because that's where he went. That's where he went from becoming a child and becoming an adult. I don't know if that's where all of this happened. It seems like it's a few years later, or a few years out of college. He's been working for 3 or 4 years. So let's see what else we have here. I'll keep it rolling. Just little pieces that you pick up. This was interesting, right? On one of his platforms, I was looking at all the emojis underneath. And again, I don't get all the emojis. I don't know if it's just a choice of emojis, but ironically, there was a little ninja with a mask on underneath. Probably nothing, probably just generic, what shows up on that site. But the smile is very distinct in identifying him. This was the other piece that came out. That's his sister. And the picture on the left, I think, was reposted by his sister today, because I think the picture on the right was already up. But I'm in the way. Let me get out of the way. So I think it says "praying for you, Luigi from Fiji." That's was his handle on Instagram, I believe. On Instagram, it was "praying for you, Luigi from Fiji." Like, what? Here's the other question, and this is the part that I don't understand. NYPD today, and I have no reason to believe they're not being truthful in the press conference, said they did not know his name until today. They did not know his name till today, despite the fact that his picture's been out there for days. No one that knew him called it in and identified him. No one? Like, I get it. Mom, dad, sister might not do it. I get it. But not one classmate, not one coworker, not one casual friend, or maybe an ex-lover. No one called in his name. I was shocked when I heard that at the press conference today. To me, that's extremely, extremely surprising that no one would identify someone accused of what he was accused of. And, for his own, whether it's for his own safety or the safety of anyone else. Like, I would think, I hope the person at McDonald's gets the money. Like, by the way, I hope that worker at McDonald's gets the money. Whatever it was, $60,000, I think was up by the feds and by NYPD. I hope that person gets the money. See something, say something. Amazing. The exact route that he took, I think he may have been tracked to Philadelphia first, and then from Philadelphia out towards Altoona. They'll put all those pieces together. Like and the question is, how does he react to the arrest? Right? He's smart. He knows he can remain silent, ask for a lawyer, and be done with it. My guess is his family will get him a very, very, very good lawyer. Right? That's what you do. Whether it's you know that your child did, or you don't, you're going to get the best lawyer. They obviously have money. He went to private school. He went to the University of Pennsylvania. Plus, he was making money himself. They've got money. So there's going to be a high-powered attorney in all of this. I don't know what their approach is going to be to this whole thing. But I don't know if this is going to be a battle about, oh, he didn't do it, or if it's going to be a mitigation case. And when I say mitigation case, what I mean is the narrative of what drove him to this. Is there a personal story? Is there a mental break? How could this happen? Here's the thing. If he's a tech guy, though, he's spending a lot of time behind the keyboard, way too much time behind the keyboard, right? And the other thing that happens, which can happen with people who work remotely, is they can be isolated, right? If he's working remotely, right? Again, I don't think his company is headquartered in Hawaii. I just don't. Everything seems to lead that it's a California company. So, in a lot of those companies, they don't need people to come to work. But if you're single, you're young, you're working remotely, are you isolated from the world? Is your world the world that you see on your screen, like I'm looking at right now? Is your world people you are talking to online? And does that create an unhealthy atmosphere where you can get caught up into something, right? You're feeling outrage for whatever reason. Did I just mess up my audio? Let me check the comments. I accidentally hit the button. Is my audio okay? Let me know if the audio is okay. Let me know if the audio is okay. Audio's good. Okay, thank you. I don't want to touch it again. I accidentally hit it. It's because I'm Italian, like this Luigi guy. I talk with my hands. Does the defense is it all about mental state, right? Like the case involving the sheriff and the judge out in Kentucky, right? To me, that's all about the mitigation because it's on video. This is on video, right? It's not as clear as the sheriff video, but it's on video and it's very straightforward. And if you get the DNA, the surveillance and everything else, and the alleged weapon, and you put those together, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to say, oh, you got to look over here. This guy over here did it, right? So then it becomes the mitigation. Is it something less than the top charge? Is it something less than life without the possibility of parole? And my guess is that's where they're going to go. And that's where that story comes in. But there's two roads. There's what motivated it, and is anyone else involved? See, the anyone else involved becomes a big piece if you're negotiating something, right? You flip, you take your lumps, you do your time, but you bring in someone or a bigger fish or an organization, right? I don't think that's the case, but that's one road. The other one is the mitigation, which is how did he get to this point? And this is why I cover this part of these stories all the time on my shows on Court TV, Closing Arguments from 8 to 9, and Vinny Politan Investigates from 9 to 10, the psychology of people accused in all the crimes that I cover, because it plays a role in how the system of justice deals with them and handles them. The motivation, you never have to prove it as a prosecutor, but you want to show it to try to prove that, yeah, this is the person who did it and this is why he did it. And the defense, on the other hand, can also use it to try to explain away why, oh, this is why he did it. And there's some level of sympathy to the story. Now, we look at this story and the way it blew up on social media and where the sympathies went from a lot of people went not to the victim. So that's like the starting point, right? And it's because a lot of people have a shared experience, a shared horrific experience dealing with our healthcare system and with health insurance carriers, right? So I think that's part of where the defense is going to go. Is you don't have an actual enemy in all this, but you have an explanation perhaps for why he did this. Now, is he just acting out generally against the system, looking for a cause? Or, in the alternative, was there something that happened in his life to a loved one that made this his cause? That's a big possibility, because a quick look at his background, there's no connection to the healthcare industry, right? There's nothing there. You know, you've got little indications here that you're railing against corporate America. Very common for a 26-year-old, extremely common for a 26-year-old. Just out of college, out of the University of Pennsylvania, of course, the man is the problem. Like it's historically common, but this is extremism now. This manifests itself in an extreme way. And the level of planning and plotting and focus on this is like through the roof. The actions that he took, the information that he somehow gained access to in order to carry this all out. So let's back up a little bit. And before I go to all the comments I'm going to go to in just a minute, which is the weapon that was used, right? So why that weapon? When was that weapon produced? They say it's a 3D printer. He's an engineer, so obviously, again, smart enough to do all of this, but does he have access to the machinery to do this? Did he get any help anywhere along the way? Is the question. So those are the questions that are out there. I'm going to get to your comments now, and I know people have a lot of theories and a lot to say about this, a whole lot to say about this. So be patient, because I usually start from the beginning, but I'm going to have to go pretty quickly through all this because of the extremely large number of comments that are popping in the feed today. So let me just get that ready. Wow. All right. Wow, there's a lot of comments. I'm trying to get all the way to the beginning, but I can't. All right. If I missed your comment today, my apologies. We have 4,500 people. We're streaming live on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch, and we are on X. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Please subscribe, like, follow, do all those things if you could. That would be great. All right. Okay, Anita begins with with this, right? Dead ringer. Okay, so we could put that to rest. Can we put that to rest? Because I know that was a big part of the story initially. So I think we can put that to rest, Anita, on YouTube today. All right. Lauren, Vinny Politan, Court TV, you got me in trouble. I said you were right about the Roman nose, Roman all over his face, and someone called me a racist. Well, Roman, yeah, he's Italian. All right, we got it right. We got it right. People are looking at him. Was he Turkish? Was he? I said he could have been Greek. He could have been Jewish. He could have been Italian. He could have been Middle Eastern. Like there's all that mix. Turns out Italian. My guess is Southern Italian roots, perhaps Sicilian or Calabria, Naples. Who knows? But yeah, Lauren, sorry I got you in trouble. Thanks for watching. All right. Daryl Hicks, data engineer at TrueCar, right? TrueCar. Absolutely. All right. Gen X, one of our moderators. He practiced the nug without the modification and didn't realize the modification changed the way to fire, so he fumbled through it. That makes sense. Like, we know he's not a pro. We know he's not a pro. But you know who are pros? Our moderators.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The Mod Squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean.
All right, big thanks to Gen X, Frankie Figs, and Jennifer Sube, our moderators, keeping law and order, keeping us honest in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, Tanya on YouTube. Vinny, who turned him in? It was someone from Mickey D's. Somebody from Mickey D's. Loving it. I'm loving it today. I'm loving it. On Twitch. Kara Untapped. Can't even get a snack wrap these days. Hey-o. You know what's the other crime is here, and this I'm speaking, this is kind of personal for me as an Italian American, like to get caught at McDonald's, like you eat at McDonald's. Like, no, come on. That's how you can tell he's way, way off the ranch of how he was raised. He wasn't raised to do this. He wasn't raised to eat at McDonald's either. But yeah, it was a McDonald's employee who made the call. And I hope that employee gets the loot, man. I hope they get the loot. All right. Kristen says he wanted to get caught on YouTube. That's maybe like if you wanted to get caught and he has something to say, the only place he'll be able to say it now is from the witness stand. But he made a mistake. He picked a state that does not permit cameras in the courtroom. So the world's not going to hear him. All right. Jennifer Thomas does think he caught the bus from Atlanta in Pennsylvania. It's very possible. Very possible, Jennifer. Could have been back, near his old stomping grounds in Pennsylvania on his way up. The bus from Atlanta starts in Atlanta, but it's going to make stops along the way. Absolutely. Francine, I'm with you. Francine Smith, McDonald's worker, take some time off after getting the reward money. Get that money. You deserve it. Oh, wow. Subi 618, I kind of feel bad for the employee because she's going to get so much hate for doing what she thought was a good thing. Well, she did do the right thing and did do a good thing. Anyone that's capable of doing that is absolutely dangerous to anyone in their life. Okay? If you're willing to if that's your solution to whatever your grievance is, I think that is an ongoing danger. That is someone who is, in one aspect of their life, unhinged. So, and I get it because we know where social media went with this. But take some time off. Absolutely. Jenny Allison, never thought this guy was from Atlanta. I thought it was a smoke screen. I'll tell you what, though. Law enforcement in Atlanta was working the case, Jenny. They were working the case. But, yeah, might have been a smoke screen by him. or he may not even known where the bus originated from. Although he may have come to Atlanta to take it. I don't know. But thank you, Jenny. All right. Sherry Derrick, you can't hide those eyebrows. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm going to go there. Because it looks like he's done some fixing of the eyebrows. I think we had Ted Kaczynski, who he liked on Readable, was known as the Unabomber. And this guy could have been known as the Unibrow, but he did fix it. He fixed it. Looks like a little bit of waxing done there because that area is just a little extra shiny. Gamer lover thinks it's for money. Probably did this for money. That'd be crazy. I mean, with the degrees and expertise that he has, and it seemed like he had a good job, did it for the money. And that brings us to Simply Cheryl. Great point here. The monopoly money. The monopoly money that's found in the backpack, right? Like writing on the cartridges, leaving the backpack, knowing it would be found, and leaving monopoly money in there, sending a signal. Strange. There's absolutely a whole level to this story, and I think that level is where the defense is going to find their footing in this case, because they're not going to find their footing in the whodunit, in the forensics, in the evidence that's put together. That's not going to help them. That's not going to help them. Because with the assets that they're using here, FBI got involved as well. You're talking about interstate at this point because he left New York, came in from out of state, may have taken some steps towards this out of state. The defense case is all about what's going on. It's all about the why of it. Okay, Rachel Creech, why that specific CEO, right? So, and again, it doesn't seem obvious, the connection to healthcare in the quick look that I did on some of his social media. Obviously, I didn't have time for the deep dive on everything. And maybe the first gut reaction everyone had, a loved one, maybe a loved one was denied. Here's the thing though. And this is the other part of it. He comes from means, right? So if your family member, and this is why that's not necessarily adding up for me. If your family member needs something life-saving, whatever it is, whether it's a procedure or whatever, and you're having problems with the insurance, it seems that this family would be able to pay for it themselves somehow, some way. You know what I mean? Like if you're, whatever the situation is, if something happened and they were having troubles, it seems like this family, private high school in Maryland's got to be super expensive. Then you go to the University of Pennsylvania, you're dropping, $90,000 a year, easy at the University of Pennsylvania. So I think he comes from some level of money. We don't know, but everything's pointing in that direction. So why that specific CEO? That's why, someone in his family has a problem and the problem is related to insurance. Maybe you can go the other route and just pay direct if it's that desperate. But that's where we were when this first happened, right? But the manifesto seems larger. I think a lot of answers will be in the manifesto itself. Ashley Bouchard, who's on Facebook as one of our moderators, has a lot of questions. Thank you, Ashley, for moderating there. Yeah, this is it's going to trickle out little by little. I don't think now that he's been captured and will eventually be caught, I think we're going to learn about stuff in courtroom settings and in court filings. I don't think we're going to get the press conferences with a lot of information anymore. The press conferences were used as a means to get him, but once they get him, the ethical rules change a little bit, especially in New York. So I think we're going to have to wait on some more of our answers as this plays out inside the system. Okay, Subi, suffering because I want to watch on Twitch, but I know I wouldn't get these interruptions on YouTube. Not sure what that is, but again, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X live streaming on all of them. Thank you, Subi, for watching. Todd with a good point here. He's educated but not bright. I get, and I know what you're talking about, Todd. And may have thought he was smarter than everyone else. You know, that could be it as well. Like, oh, I could get away with this. Come on, I'm smart. I could get away with it. I could figure out how to do this. I could figure out how to get away. They're never going to trace me. I use the ghost gun. I wear the mask in New York, but you flirted with the girl. If he doesn't flirt, this is going to be tough. This was going to be really, really tough if he did not voluntarily unmask himself. And Linda Z, good looking and smart. Yeah, just like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was good looking and smart too, right? Good looking, smart comes from a family that clearly supported him. How else would he get into the private high school and the University of Pennsylvania? So he's got the foundation as well. So you've got everything that you need. So what was it that took him from that world to the world he's in now and the place where he will spend the rest of his life? Although it's New York, so I think there's a chance he could get paroled out at some point. Jennifer Della Vecchia, he looks Arabic. Well, you know, he looks Italian too. Like there's similarities. So you look at the history of that country, shaped like a boot. It was conquered many times by many different people. So there is a lot of mixed blood in the country of Italy. Here's Philly, PA girl. Lots of people with book smarts lack common sense. Yeah. Beach bum. He looks like Eric Menendez. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think that's going to be a part of this, though. I don't think that's going to be part of the narrative here. Lisa Koch, is the DP on the table? No, we are in New York. Even though for years on Law and Order, they pretended that was the law in New York. It's not the law in New York. It's not the law in New York. Debbie LaFave picking up on it, the unibrow killer. That's what we should call him, the unibrow. Land Pirate Radio, Adam, dimples, cheeks, and chin. Easy to identify. Oh, look at this. Sandra Dieterman, free him, trending on Twitter. Will he go free if defense can prove his family was directly affected by his company's denial? No. The only way that would happen is if you had 12 people who wanted to send a message in the jury, 12 people who wanted to send a message. It really goes to the mitigation of the sentence and potentially the mitigation of the mens rea, the mindset at the time of the crime, to reduce it from the top charge to a lesser charge, which would make him eligible for parole down the road. Look at Jennifer Della Vecchia won't let it go. Not Italian. Wow. I mean, the name is Italian. Luigi is pretty much Italian. Now, will his defense be that it was his brother Mario that actually did it? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, Swami may have had an accomplice, but there's no way anyone hired him. Anyone with half a brain who put out a hit on someone would have offered this kid immediately after the deed. Dead guys tell no tales, right? Yeah, he's not a hitman. He's just not a hitman. This is activism, extreme activism, motivated by either a worldview or a personal story. A worldview or a personal story. Something happened here. Thank you, Swami. Kelly Wiseman, why go out in public when you are the target of a manhunt? The Nuggets are not that good. You have to eat. And my thought all through this was the only way that he was going to perhaps stay undetected for quite some time is if he had help, if he was part of something a little bit larger, had some co-conspirators who could conceal him, who could feed him and house him so he wouldn't have to go out in public. Steve LaPointe, Vinny, his grandparents were denied claims. Grandparents died 2013, 2017. Okay. 2013, 2017 were denied claims. All right. I need a little bit more on that, on what the denial was, but you're right on point, Steve LaPointe. That's where the defense will start. And do we know if it was United specifically? And I think if you go back to 2013, 2017, this CEO likely was not the CEO. I don't think he was the CEO by then. I don't think this CEO was the CEO back then, because you're going back 11. I mean, 2013, 11, 26. He's like 15 years old. That could be impressionable. You know, he's 15, 17. This is when he's in high school. All this is happening. That's not, to me, the time lapse is problematic. It's something that could be simmering in the back of his mind. And then as he gets older and gets more worldly and starts to see things, and then spends a lot more time behind the keyboards, that could play a role. I think that could play a role, and maybe it's sort of, it's not like direct correlation, like this man running this company caused the death of my grandparents, but my grandparents died because of this. This is an ongoing issue in the world. Yeah, my grandparents were denied it. And it's not as specific, but as sort of like general motivation that gets him into this world. Okay. That could be it. All right. I'm like 40 minutes behind in comments. I apologize. April Diaz doesn't get the Atlanta connection. Well, the bus that he took originated in Atlanta. It stopped in other places, but law enforcement was on it down here. Trust me, law enforcement was on it down here. And we've got Dami the Dreamer on Twitch. I didn't see the manifesto, but I heard that 1, he dumped a backpack with Monopoly money. Yes. 2, he had the manifesto in his possession at a random McDonald's 6 days later. What do y'all think about this? Because I can't find the reasoning for this. And allegedly, the weapon. Yeah, the weapon was allegedly found, and the manifesto. Like, why? If you're a professional, you're getting rid of all that stuff. You're not going to keep that with you. But a manifesto paints a completely different picture. Completely different picture. Who writes a manifesto, right? Someone that is off the ranch a little bit. You're off the ranch. Manifesto? You're writing a manifesto? Let's see. Jenny said he retweeted a speech someone gave about more companies being led by people with Asperger's. He said that, quote, "We should view this as an indictment on our society, that it's dangerous and wrong." Yeah. Basil with the best comment yet. He should have left the gun and taken the cannolis. Luca Bratz. Thank you, Basil. So, a rich boy. I would guess, yeah. But my guess is the family is well off, and I'm just taking a guess based on private high school in Maryland, the designer backpack, University of Pennsylvania. James Delaney. Vinny is so serious, professional at court TV, and then he's a joke on his YouTube channel. You should have heard my radio show on Sirius XM. I think the YouTube is more like the old radio show, Court TV Morning on Sirius XM, that ran back in the day, way back in the day. But thank you, James. Appreciate it. Oh, wait a minute. Helen and I don't know if this is verified, but Helen, maybe with a theory, his daddy lost money from the insider trading that the CEO made loads from it. Is that possible? I guess that's possible. I don't know if that's the reason why you'd want to spend the rest of your life behind bars, but it could motivate someone who's off the ranch a little bit. I'm going to scramble a little bit forward because I've got to get ready for the big show tonight in a little bit. Veronica, he uses the same profile picture for every account. Yeah, I think he does. I think I'm all of them. I think the other pictures we found were like valedictorian pictures, etc. Mac the knife. This is interesting, right? A guy with abs like that eating at a McDonald's, poor kid, was obviously suicidal. Well, I think what you're, but I think what you're saying is he's off the ranch a little bit. He's not himself. I think there's something to that. That he's not himself. Like, he was at the Starbucks getting water and a power bar, and now he is down to going to McDonald's, right? It could be a financial thing. It could be, I don't know why, but I think there's depth to that. I think there's some level of depth to the mindset of someone who obviously spent a lot of time in the gym, very concerned about his health and his nutrition, who worked extremely hard to be a valedictorian and to get the degrees that he got at the University of Pennsylvania. There's a level of intensity and focus in all of that. And then all of a sudden you do this, and then the next thing you're doing is you're eating at McDonald's. It's out of character. Getting a lot of good comments today. Nick Go 4, $10 an hour worker solved with these $100,000 a year detectives and the NYPD could not. Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is they released, they were able to track down these images. Okay. So the part that the NYPD does is tracking down the images and then being smart enough to put the images out there. So Court TV, ABC, NBC, News Nation, every website, social media, everyone had access to those images, so they knew what he looked like. So maybe it's a combination of the two. Maybe it's a combination of the two. Anita, I can't imagine his family didn't recognize him. Yeah, let's go back to that. Would they recognize him there? Not necessarily, but here, yes. That's my son. That's my nephew. That's my brother. That's my college roommate. Come on. It's not, I like, people are minimizing that picture. But you had that, plus you had a second picture with the head down. A lot of people talking about the reward. Cop on STS said the 50 grand from FBI has a stipulation after conviction, and the 10 grand maybe now. Crime Stoppers. Yeah, they better give him the money. Better give that Mickey D person the money. Laura Stone, why Altoona? Where was he going? Where was he going? Where was he headed? Could have been on his way somewhere. And I'm wondering, and I don't know the answer to this. How did he get to the McDonald's? Was he still taking buses? What's going on there? We'll learn more about that. Mm-hmm. All right, Joni, who are the accomplices? May not be any. In the press conference today, NYPD detective said right now he believes he acted alone, but they're continuing the investigation. So this is how it goes. You know, once he gets a lawyer, and I would say a lawyer in New York, not necessarily the one in Pennsylvania, but in New York, he's gonna ask him, you know, he's gonna say, "Don't tell me, but you know," but he'll say, or she'll say something like, "You know, the evidence here is pretty overwhelming. There's a couple different ways we can go here. If, for example, there was someone else involved and we had information about that other person, that would perhaps be a way to get a deal here. And you've got to approach that. And his attorney or attorneys will absolutely approach that because they're looking for something. I think what his family will likely be thinking is, I don't know if they'll be in denial that he did it. They'll be looking to try to explain why he did it and say that's not him. He's a good kid. He's smart. He works so hard. Right? That could be where they are. Maybe there was a mental breakdown at some point that the family knew about. I don't know. But whatever it is, I can't imagine that, because in a lot of cases, the children, in a lot of the trials I covered, the children are in denial if their parent is the one that's been accused or convicted. They don't want to accept it. Here, I don't think they'll be there because there's going to be so many pieces, including the picture right here. So I think they're going to try to figure that their question is going to be, why would Luigi do that? Why would Luigi do that? And then they'd be talking to lawyers, telling lawyers, that's not Luigi. He doesn't do this. We've got to find out why he was doing this. Who made him do this? That's what I think will be their reaction. Who radicalized my son, or who made him do this? Mr. A4 rate. A4 rate. I think I'm saying that right. A4 8. They were well off. I think they were well off as well. What level of well off? There's different levels, right? There's, top 1%, then there's the top 1% of the 1%. I don't know where they fall on that. All right, I've got to scroll even more because I'm still 40 minutes behind. Steve with another penny found not guilty. Yes. We're going to talk. We have that on the show tonight. We have this on the show tonight. We also have the sheriff and the judge in Kentucky on Vinnie Politan Investigates tonight. Huge developments in all of that. So, yeah, thank you, Steve. I'm gonna scroll through this. This is interesting from Catherine. Good luck finding a jury that will find him guilty. We all know someone who died early, went bankrupt because of those CEOs. And that's what we call jury nullification. All the evidence points one way, but the jury says, despite that, I'm not going to convict him. And the question is, I don't think you could find 12 people who would say not guilty, but you could find 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, who are like, nope, not going to do it. And you end up with a hung jury, potentially. Maybe. I don't think you could find 12 people who would just let him go, but maybe. And it's going to be in New York City, right? It'll be a New York City jury, same as Daniel Penny. I'm going to scroll, trying to catch up. Kathy Guidry, we are all animals, just like everything else on the planet, except we forget the law of the jungle. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Right? So this was another part of, I believe, the Unabomber quote that he was liking on social media. Right? So that gives you some insight. Like, you're not going to randomly like that, right? You're going to seek it out, and you're going to, and something has to go through your mind. So that absolutely fits with where we are. That totally fits where we are towards the explanation. And stuff like that, believe it or not, may be helpful for the defense. Why do I say that? Because the defense is not going to be he didn't do it. It's not going to be you can't prove that he did it. It's going to be about what his mens rea, his mindset was at the time of the crime. That's what it's going to be about. All right. I am scrolling. I'm still 35 minutes behind, so I'm just going to go through there. Sandra Dieterman, Vin Freeham trending all over Twitter. Could the defense paint him a hero for a ticket to go free? I can see those eyes better tonight. Thanks. So you can't, like, you can try to raise all this stuff and make it part of the trial, but you're not permitted by the judge to argue for jury nullification. All right. Most judges will not permit that. You can't argue for nullification. It just has to happen. So you have to kind of between the lines make that part of the case. But will a judge permit any information about the background of the victim, especially if it's not directly connected to anything that may have happened to him or a loved one, that may not make its way in front of the jury. That's not me. Like, that's may not. Now, it may, if you have some sort of psychological defense, then it can trickle in that way, right? If he takes the witness stand, then stuff like that will come out. It can come out. You just said, why'd you do it? Boom. Then it all comes out. Very interesting. All right. Don't forget, folks, 8 o'clock tonight on Court TV, 8 to 9 o'clock. Closing arguments. We're talking about this story. 9 o'clock, Vinnie Politan Investigates. We're talking about the sheriff and the judge in Kentucky. And I had to remind you, programming note. Big Christmas special. It'll be live on Sunday, December 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming on all my platforms. The Tangent Christmas special, me, Al, and Jonesy with our special Christmas show. And it will include lots of giveaways. We'll have some Tangent trivia, other special events. It's the Tangent Christmas special, Sunday, December 22nd at 8 p.m. And you can join the fun. Send me your Christmas picture, old-time Christmas picture, to vinniesmods@gmail.com. vinniesmods@gmail.com. Your old-time picture. If you don't have old-time pictures, if you're not old like me, you can send some of your newer time pictures, but only 1 or 2 pictures. Include your handle that you go by on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you are, and forward it to vinniesmods@gmail, and it'll be part of our Christmas special. All righty. Let's continue with April Diaz. You're the only person I have notifications on for, but never get any. It'll show up on Twitter, but I have to be there to see it, and I think it's same guy. You never get the notifications on YouTube. Follow on Twitch. I think Twitch gets the notifications pretty regularly. So if you also follow on Twitch and then get the notification, hopefully you'll find out when we're on. But thanks so much, April, for all your support. Always. Let's see who else is checking in. Only 33 minutes behind right now. I'm telling you, great comments today. Thank you for the great conversation. And part of the show is you guys talking to each other as well, which is awesome. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. None your business. Thank you. His dad was denied cancer treatment for a second time is why he did it. You can see his GoFundMe he made for his dad. Okay. Let's check on that. For sure. Interesting. Just checking something. One second. I have to reply to a work text message real quick for the show tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV. So if he's got a GoFundMe and his dad, maybe they don't have money. I don't know. Maybe they don't have money. That would be interesting. Thank you, None Your Business. Great photo, by the way. Let's see who else we got. I'm just rolling. This is like how many minutes behind him? I can't catch up. I'm 30 minutes behind. I'm doing the quick scroll now here at the end because I've got to end shortly. Thank you, MD 2020, the adjuster. The adjuster. Insurance adjuster? I'm not sure, but thank you, MD. Go Gadget. He's 1000% Italian. Yeah, I see Italian there. I grew up with a lot of guys who look like that. Oh, look at this. Marty Cohen. I'm from LA, but I think Cougine went to NorCal and got brainwashed. A lot of crazy stuff up there. Yeah, well, he moved to Northern California, right? So he's in the midst of it. He did spend some time, did an AI program at Stanford, and then went back, I think, to the San Francisco area when after he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. Was in Hawaii, though. But yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We're still like, who does a manifesto? Like if you have time to write a manifesto and carry it around with you, that's significant. The fact that you keep it on yourself. Like I've got my manifesto with me. That tells me you're off the ranch. It doesn't mean you are not guilty, but it becomes part of, like I said, the mitigation of the case. Not the complete not guilty defense, but the mitigation of what was going on here. All right. I'm just trying to get to any current ones. I'm 11 minutes behind, scrolling fast. Yorkie Mom. What if he was involved in one of those groups that will pay for someone to take out the CEO, terror groups? I don't think money was his issue. But if he had a GoFundMe, is money an issue for him? You're living in Hawaii. Could you live in a more expensive place, Northern California, San Francisco, than Hawaii? Like you're living in like the most expensive places in the country. But could you have gotten mixed up with some folks? Marty Cohen, thank you for your support. Could you have gotten mixed up with some folks? And then, kind of in your bubble, you start talking to each other and you end up a little more radical than you were beforehand. Ooh, Christine Martin. Vinny, I'm a nurse and I see firsthand insurance companies in action. I'd not done him guilty. Okay. All right. That's all us from the outside looking in, big picture. If there's a story there, it seems like there's maybe something there. Does any of that end up in front of the jury? Does any of that end up in front of this jury? That's a huge question because it's not automatic. It is not automatic for that to be part of the case. I really think for that to be part of the case, for that to seep out, he's got to take the stand. He's got to tell that story. Absolutely. Laura Wagner, my aunt knows him. Family owned golf course and went bankrupt. He's been estranged from family for 1 year, says Laura. Laura, how are you connected to all these? Wasn't there another case you were connected to? It's very possible. Very possible. That would explain, good looking, smart, money, working, to family, estranged from your family, things falling apart. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it. Gringa, let's fight insurance greed by staying healthy. Bingo. Well, think about that for a second, though, Gringa. Think about it. If no one gets sick, they don't have to pay any claims. They will. It's actually the opposite. But I get what you're saying, Gringa. I get what you're saying. I think the people that would be hurt by this would be the doctors and nurses rather than the insurance companies if we're all healthy. All right. Goatman Bridge 666. What does race matter? He's American. Yeah, I don't think race matters. I think everything having to do with his ethnicity, right? Like, because American means a lot of different things. I think it was an identifying him and figuring out who he was. I think that was it. Maybe the conversation went in a different place, but that was the genesis of it all when we only saw his picture. Okay. Let's see. That's the suspect. Yeah, that's well, they're calling him a person of interest, but he's more than a suspect for a charge involving the weapon that he was carrying, and that's what he's been arrested for. Oh, I'm almost caught up. If I missed any of the supers, I apologize because I got overwhelmed. Great crowd today, folks. Great crowd. I tell you, great crowd. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate all your support. Don't forget tonight, 8:00, closing arguments with Vinnie Politan, and we'll be talking about this story. 9:00, Vinnie Politan investigates. We're going to talk about the judge and the sheriff. We've got the attorney representing the woman making the allegations that the judge was involved in some of those shenanigans in the chambers. So we'll be talking about that tonight. We've got a lot to get to there. What time is it? Let me just check. I always have to check any last minute things. I'm checking any notes from work. Nope. And all right. So we might have some new people here today who haven't seen the stream before, but I'm Vinnie Politan, lead investigator for Court TV. Also, I am a type 1 diabetic. And at the end of my streams, we have a little friendly competition where there's no prize given. The prizes will be on the Christmas Tangent special on December 22nd, Sunday, 8 p.m. But what we do is you try to guess what my blood sugar is. I will tell you this: I had my lunch, and I had my lunch. I had my lunch at lunchtime, and I haven't really had a snack since. So it's time for you to guess my blood sugar.
Here's a type 1. Here's type 1. His pancreas is on fruits. He has diabetes, type 1 juvenile diabetes. And so it's time to guess, is more or less, what's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? Under 70, he gets like 10. Under 60, all the alarms start ringing.
Oh!
Over 180, he starts to get lethargic. But when it's 90, Vinny, eyes are singing. And so it's time to guess,
Tommy the Dreamer.
more or less, what's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? Or take a guess. Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinny's blood sugar now.
Our first Twitcher winning the blood sugar competition. 115. Feeling good today, folks. Feeling good. And best way to end the show, folks.
Time to get happy. It's time to get funky. It's time for us to smile. Because here comes Max Spunky.
Nick Spunky closing it out for us today. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. I'll see you tonight, 8:00 on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. In the meantime, folks, don't forget, to hug the kids.
Get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's City Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's City Live. Get ready. So post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set to like and to subscribe. Let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.